So Leah, thank you for partnering with Thomas and I on a service adventure to Guatemala. I have been so blessed, and my family has been blessed by our association with you and with Choice. And my daughter's going to Nepal and Bolivia, and other friends and family that have been involved in your organization. Thomas and I would like to bring that experience to our corporate clients, because we find that when people serve like this, it brings a clarity to their purpose and helps them really see their unique value add. Somehow it brings a clarity to their life and a meaning to their life that accelerates everything else they're doing. So thank you for being willing to partner with us on this.
I'm really excited about it, and I've seen other companies do what you want to do, you and Thomas, and I've seen the impact of what it can have on their employees and the culture of their company, and so I'm in. I love it.
And I've seen a little bit of that impact on those companies that you work with as well. And what really inspires me about Choice is first of all, your mission, what you're all about, and second of all, your leadership model for development. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about your mission.
So for 35 years, we've been working in some of the most remote villages around the world, working with indigenous people in these countries on a model that is empowering them to create their own plan out of poverty. And we take a holistic approach in that we tackle education, health, income generating opportunities, culture, and environment. And when you take a comprehensive approach like that, you have the ability to let other people, government institutions, other NGOs, religious institutions, come and plug and play easily in companies. Visions and missions like the ones that you have, you can come and plug and play with us, because what we're really doing is helping communities develop themselves. If I could capture choice, the essence of choice, in one sentence, we don't want to rob people from the experience of moving themselves out of extreme poverty. That's what we're about.
Incredible. And I know that when I studied your model for how it all works, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I know that most of the money that you raise goes to real work and projects and not overhead. And every dollar you put into the field has to get replicated. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So about 85 cents of every dollar is deployed to the field to do programs. And for every dollar that I deploy into any of the 7 countries where we work, Kenya, Nepal, Guatemala, Bolivia, Mexico, Peru, and Ecuador, they have to figure out how to multiply that dollar. So whether it's through partnerships with the government, the villagers themselves have to have skin in the game, religious institutions, Rotary clubs in countries. However, they have to turn $1 into $3 to $7, depending on their ability in country.
And that's so that the projects that are happening aren't dependent on some American organization.
In the beginning of the process, it's a 3 to 5 year process, we might be 50% of the pie. But by year 2, by year 3, we might only be 15% of the pie, which is our exit strategy to then leave and allow them to continue on their path to development once we've completed a certain amount of benchmarks with them.
Yeah, I love that. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about the Guatemala opportunity. I know we talked about where can this group that we're putting together have the most impact, and we settled on Guatemala. And could you just tell us a little bit about that opportunity?
Yeah, so I love Guatemala because we own about 60 acres of land, and we have an agriculture technical trade school that we're building out and developing there, and it's a boarding school. And nearby, there's about a 12, 15 room hospital that's the only healthcare facility in a region of about 15,000 people in the Polo Chic. So without this hospital, before this hospital was built, people were actually spending $60 to get an ambulance ride to go to the nearest hospital. $60 is 2 months of income.
Wow.
Yeah, so now they have this hospital that's there, but they don't have a culture of understanding how preventative health care, how to go to the hospital. So most of them wait until they're really, really sick. They go to the hospital, then they die. So people in the region think people who go to the hospital die. So I don't want to go to the hospital. So we have some challenges that we need to address culturally up in the Polo Chic in Guatemala, where we need to train people to help them understand that that's not what's happening. What's happening is you need to go to the hospital when you're first sick or before you're even sick. And so I think that there's some challenges that we can tackle together while we're serving and while we're doing some leadership components that you and Thomas want to address also.
Yeah, and I think where this model really comes together is in the different adventures that Thomas and I create. We want to solve real problems, so we have business cases. And when I look at the opportunity for us from a leadership perspective to partner up with, for example, this hospital, and help not only us learn about what life on the ground in such a place is like, also to perhaps share some ideas on how they can see the importance of leadership and culture and the things that we do every day in effectively serving their patients.
Justin, that's really important because even though we're a bottom-up organization, when we go in country and we sit down with the village leadership to try to help them solve problems, their problem-solving skills are pretty limited because they've only seen X amount in the world, but they just need a broader menu of understanding what's possible for them to do so that this hospital does become sustainable.
That sounds exciting. And you know, as we work together, we'll do everything we can to bring a top team to Guatemala this summer and do something really meaningful together.
Well, I love it, and I want to be there with you doing this, and excited to see as many people as possible from your company sign up and join us because it is a transformative experience. Guatemala, I think this year we're going to be entering their 70th trip in just the 10 years that I've been here. So they're experts at doing these trips. They know how to pull them off, and we know how to be flexible enough to meet diverse agendas that we have in fulfilling your goals and my goals while we're there. So I'm excited, and let's do it.
We will, and thank you again for all the impact you've had on my life and my family's life.
Wow. Well, thank you. You've been great.
Thanks.